more enterprises, organizations, and especially the startups we see now exploring mobile as a platform to do business. And thereby, as we see the digital economy shaping the Indian economy, we have changed its name as Digital Services Asia.
The session mentions innovation, and I'll leave you with the definition of the three terms around here. One, which we call as iteration. Essentially, that means that doing the same thing better. Second mean innovation, which is doing new things. And the third being disruption, which is doing new things that makes the old one obsolete. Our belief is that digital is neither an iteration nor an innovation. Our belief is digital is a disruption. It changes the way the world works. I remember a very famous tweet of Mr. Mahindra when Uber came in India saying, "I wonder if our factories would produce cars that would be taken by consumers at all." So I think from that perspective, mobility, specific that I would talk about as a larger context of digital, is the one which we believe would disrupt this world. And why would it disrupt is what I'll try and spend the next 8 to 10 minutes doing that across by showing some case studies as to how brands and enterprises are using to reach out to the consumers. You'd be very surprised to know that the technology dissemination curve, which was more a bell curve, is now more and more becoming a sharp. Some statistics you might find it interesting and even tweet-worthy, which is if it took telephone about 110 years to reach 1 billion, messaging app has done that in a less than 2-year period. So the time is really, really compressing. And I wonder, going forward, the next app or the next democratized web, how would that adopt consumers in a far much more faster progress? If you look at, specifically from an India perspective, we believe that we are at about 370 million internet users. 70-30 is the urban-rural split, and we are about 220 million smartphone users. 2018, we are predicting 600 million of internet users. We are predicting close to 450 million smartphones. But that's a massive scale that you're seeing across. So large amount of internet being pumped in, large amount of devices being pumped in. See what happens as an enterprise or as companies that work in this domain. When you have that kind of a device and internet speed that pops up, democratization of brands happen. I don't know how many of you went to B school long time back, but when I went to B school, the thing that was taught to us was tooth powders was for rural and toothpaste was for urban. I don't know if any one of you remember out here. If you do remember, you could raise a hand on that particular point. Second part that was always taught to us was killer jeans was for rural and Levi's was for urban. I don't know how many of you have heard that. Am I boring? Internet democratizes brands. So what happens is that a rural youth in a far-off village aspires to get the same Levi's jeans or the same toothpaste, which otherwise to his village or to his retail was not available. Now that changes the way a company or a brand thinks of reaching out to it. Shyam mentioned virtual reality. He was around, he's unfortunately not around here, but I'll send a note to him. In 2006, first time ever a man got convicted for robbing on a virtual environment. I don't know how many of you have played with an environment called Second Life. It was very, very popular. I just see Kaushal raising his hand around here. He seems to be a digital native like I have been for many, many years now. So Second Life was a company where you could create avatars and you can buy spaces, you can build your own flat, you can buy furnitures in that. So there was a Hungarian guy who was convicted because he went and did a theft in someone else's house and he stole some goodies and put it in his own house. So he was, for a virtual theft, he was convicted in the physical world and he was sent to jail for 3 months. So we talk of virtual reality in 2006-2007. So coming back, internet and smartphone will change. Will it be digital? I don't think so it's going to be digital. I think it's going to be mobile or mobile. And here digital for me is more synonymous with mobile. It's grey, I'm not able to see too much around here, but I think the big bubbles would determine the size of the usage in the digital environment for a smartphone, a tablet, a desktop, and a linear would predominantly be newspaper and TV. So if you look at these, and if you look at a common time from breakfast to going to bed, and intermittent work and a commute, you would observe that during commutes and lunch times, smartphone tablets are taking disproportionate time. By any media mix calculation, be it an ENY, BWC, or whosoever you want to take, by and large about 45 to 50% of a consumer time today during the day of the time that he spends on media is being spent on mobile as a medium. Now that's a very, very large amount of time he spends on medium. So more and more brands are ensuring and engaging with the consumers with this as a device. So the whole point is, you have high internet usage, you have powerful, sexier devices coming in, you have disproportionate time being spent by the consumer on these devices. And this is the reason we believe that the consumer experiences will be disrupted by mobile. I'll try and take about 4-5 case studies, moving from a mundane voice to high-end beaconing or location tagging case studies, more in a video format, to try and make you immerse, to say from the world that I service, large amount of enterprise, how they are using mobile to reach out to their consumer. Colgate had an interesting problem. Like Aadhaar is India's gift to the world, Kumbh Mela is India's gift to the civilization. It's the biggest congregation of humans at a single location at a particular period of time. And a brand has an interesting problem to solve. How he brushes his teeth with Colgate toothpaste. And that's this case study.
नमस्कार, कुंभ के मेले में आपका स्वागत है। यहाँ बिछड़ा हुआ भाई मिले या न मिले, पर आपको भारत का नंबर 1 एंटी कैविटी टूथपेस्ट कोलगेट का 10 रुपए का छोटा पैक जरूर मिलेगा। तो इंतजार किस बात का, जल्द से जल्द पूरे परिवार के साथ परेड ग्राउंड सेक्टर 3 पे कोलगेट स्टॉल पर पधारिए, देखिए जादूगर का तमाशा और पाइए मौका बहुत सारे आकर्षक इनाम जीतने का। हमें आपका इंतजार रहेगा।
I think this is one of the most award-winning campaigns by Colgate using cell tower triangulation with the help of Airtel and Vodafone done a couple of years back. I'll take and stick to another case study of Tata Tea, power of 49. Any guesses what could be power of 49? Sorry? Correct. So it was it's the world's first election manifesto campaign, trying to give voice to the power of 49% of the world. Again, very strongly mobile-led.
One woman is raped every 21 minutes in India. One woman is kidnapped every 14 minutes in India. And much of this happens in broad daylight. In India, the way women are treated has gone from bad to worse. Tata Tea decided to work towards the much needed cause of female empowerment, encouraging Indian women to make use of their right to vote in the 2014 general elections. We launched the Power of 49 with the ambition of getting 49% female population of India, millions of women, to place an informed vote. We started gently. Film and TV shaped Indian society, and so we integrated empowerment stories into India's most popular daily soaps. The female stars of India's favorite soaps called out to India's women to step forward and voice their issues and express their power of 49. The process was a simple one. A missed call to the Jagore number enabled them to register their issues through an uncomplicated IVRS format. We also used popular mobile youth social networks like Nimbus and Rocket Talk to appeal to the crucial first time. The results were staggering.
But that's a massive change, right? So I don't know how many of your brand guys around here, but think that eventually media's role across, whether it's print, television, radio, whatever it is, or even video or mobile, is to try and bring audiences to the brands, right? And this mobility or this digital India focus will help and ensure that brands are able to come to consumer more common. Something more from an offline perspective, it's not only about SMS and IVR or location towering. Look at something that Bacardi tried to do in NH7. Very interesting one. So more like using issues which are relevant to someone who was in that kind of a segment is also going to work. Technology, digital footprints are not left only on web or WAP, it's also left very strongly on the location. How did Nivea play with this in one of the beaches? This is a Cannes award-winning idea. more and more technology that comes in will start people seeing how they interface their brand communication or protection, skin protection, and how they actually use it across at a location. In India, I was just discussing with Sukesh offline before we started this across, which was earlier said to be a 2-3-4% spend that the brands are doing on digital. We are seeing it upwards of higher double digits of 15-20% that's slowly ramping it up across. Companies like Uber or Flipkart, disproportionate spend, 60-70% of their spends tend to go on digital as a platform. So I do see the opportunity of a lot of people to actually come and do some work. I think one I'll try and show you is this last case study to try and. It's very interesting. It's again a safety driven, but how a cafe used it across. It recognizes and it throws an alarm. And then it exhorts, and then Cafe Amazon exhorted the consumer that, oh, there is a nearby cafe, why don't you go and have a cup of coffee from there? So I think it's interesting, right? As brands, when we interact and try and reach out to consumer to keep remembering as a very, very strong brand recall, these kind of things are very, very interesting. I don't know how many of you have seen in India or abroad beginning and virtual shopping when you enter into the shop. Retail is completely mobilized with digital shopping. You can actually stand in front of screens and ensure that and hold the dress down there and images are in float showing as if you're actually wearing the dress or the shirt without actually wearing that across. A lot of that is possible with mobile and digital printing. So I come back to the point that with all these kind of cases and going forward, we do believe that mobile, we don't believe it's digital, we believe it's mobile, and mobile is disproportionately the focus area of the future. And mobile we don't believe is going to be iterative or innovative, we believe mobile is going to be disruptive. I leave you with three core thoughts, two positive, one a bit of a caution. You need to realize as marketeers that experiences are more important than products going forward. People will not necessarily just buy your products, they will buy experiences. Second part, which somewhere Tarun mentioned, that broad sharing economy is dead, on-demand economy will pick up big time in the future. Sometimes I also call it a bit of a selfish economy. I want to see what I want to see at the time I want to see it on the device that I want to see it, and not very strong broadcasted prime time viewing kind of stuff. And a challenging trend that all of us should remember is that there is a very strong underlying sense of digital detoxification that is gripping the world in certain developed markets. I don't know how many of you ever wake up in the morning thinking, I don't want to touch my mobile phone till the time I'm on the way to office. I don't know how many of us follow saying, I will see emails only 3 times in a day. I don't know how many of us say this weekend I will not touch my phone. These are very strong undercurrents of digital detoxification that we are seeing across in the world. So as technology providers, as operators, as data privacy providers, as broadcasters, we need to be very cognizant of this in terms of saying that too much data or too much connected world, there is a bit of a repulsion away from that, and detoxification is set to be one of the biggest threat and a trend in the next 5 years in terms of actually blocking movement across. With that, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Padmanabh.
I'm Sam.
My name is Tsuneo Murata.
My name is Yutong Huang.
And you are watching
You're watching
ELE Times TV.